Greetings. I'm speaking in behalf of the Permaculture Women's Guild to obtain a double certificate in permaculture design and advanced social systems. My name is Ivori Schley. My mentor is Earthfeather, and today I will briefly summarize the James Benson Dudley High School Oasis Garden Project. So, a little more about myself. I am Ivori Schley. I am a horticulturalist. I am a food justice liberator. I am an environmental educator and just an overall lover of planty spaces. I intend to connect. I want to be a bridge that connects communities to nature. I am passionate about connecting people back to the natural elements. I am from food apartheid communities. I am from areas of food desert, and these circumstances are definitely not optimal. And I am passionate to make the change, to be the change that I want to see in my communities. I am a recent graduate of North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. This historically Black college is located in the middle of Guilford County's food deserts, and A&T is the sister school to Dudley High School. This community has rich cultural ties, and the potential still remains so massive and so large to make greener spaces, make healthier spaces for the community. And I am here to lead that movement, to do my part in the food justice liberation. So let's talk about the purpose of the Oasis Garden. Essentially, we want to attract the Dudley High School students to sustainable careers, attracting youth to sustainability, to connect the community to the land, to provide the community with nutritious food, and to essentially teach them how to feed themselves. Self-sufficiency is the name of the game here. We want to provide a demonstration garden at the least, a demonstration garden, a learning space that nourishes the community and teaches them at the same time. A lovely, calm, planty sanctuary space. I have also I've utilized the SMARTER acronym to further highlight the goals and objectives of the Oasis Garden. So let us move forward to maps and diagrams about the Oasis Garden. I shall begin by talking about the climatic data of the Oasis Garden. So this design site is located in Greensboro, North Carolina. Greensboro is located in the Piedmont region of North Carolina. So sandwiched nicely in between the mountains and the coast. Being as part of Southeast USA, we are in a humid subtropical climate. The plant hardiness zone is 7B. We have a Cecil series here of the Otisol order. So there is Otisol soil here. This is characteristic of the red clay. The red clay with impressive shrinking and swelling capacities with water. In addition, this region, the design site is susceptible to some natural disasters such as hurricanes, floods, and ice storms. So this just painted the scene of the geographical circumstances of the Oasis Garden. Now let us look at the base map of the Oasis Garden. So this is a fairly, this is what our site looks like. This is an aerial view. The Oasis Garden is on Dudley High School property, surrounded by a Dudley academic building, a parking lot, and just a very small woodland area. And referring to the map is the excellent start to think about the resources. the resources available at the site, and what direction we want to move next. So the Oasis Garden has tons of Bermuda grass. Bermuda grass is a problem. That's something we definitely want to get rid of. But some great opportunities of this site is that there's city compost and city mulch available at our disposal. That is something really convenient that we are grateful for. But we want to get rid of the Bermuda grass and provide an ADA compatible pathway. So the garden is user friendly to everyone. And we also realize that it is critical to include a K through 12 garden curriculum to keep this site relevant to Dudley High School and also the neighboring schools. This is a large community involved. So that is the base map. Getting a good look at this view, we have made the design. So here we're looking at the design map with an ADA compatible pathway and a contour pathway. We want to incorporate a swollen burn, herb bed, and keyhole garden. Those are major features of the site. And it's necessary also to incorporate carbon pile, compost, trees, and other catchwater systems. This lays the foundation of what an optimal, thriving oasis garden can look like. Notice the legend for full details. So after the design, we have the zone map. And the zone map highlights the anticipated human activity throughout the garden. So I expect zone 1 to be the most active. We have picnic tables here. We have a pollinator bed. The keyhole garden, the herb garden, and the swollen berm are major features to definitely attract visitors' attention. That will be visited the most frequently versus zone 4, which is the more wilder part, the more relaxed part of the site. Just a couple of mushrooms and trees, a much more chiller scene. So that provides the concept, the idea of the zones map. And I've also created a map to highlight the energy and technology on the site. There are buildings that will impact the oasis garden. Wind flow matters. The water flow matters. The wind flow generally moves from south to southwest. Well, starting from south to southwest to northeast. So that's a nice indicator. The water flow seems to move westward and southward. So this microclimate is an excellent opportunity. There are edges. There are potential edges throughout the garden that can make an excellent plant habitat, a unique space to utilize a plant function to reduce erosion or catch water or just further beautify this site. So there are microclimates here, and there's also, and we intend to use some appliances to make the design site further convenient for handling and storaging, and just to get the full circle view of what it looks like to grow a plant from seed, from packaging for the grocery store. All of these components are necessary and provide a nice perspective of what the garden has going on. Just the implied underlying parts. So moving forward, we'll talk about the social and invisible structures. So this is a diagram of The invisible structures relevant to the Oasis Garden. These large bubbles at the end are all entities that have an impact on the garden. Um, this is an interesting diagram because it's well intertwined. Um, all of these entities are technically like the intended audience for the Oasis Garden. The primary audience for the garden is, of course, the Deadly Panthers, K through 12 youth, and just hungry East Greensboro residents who are connected, relevant to Dudley High School. And these entities are all very, very, very close local resources that I'm sure the Panthers, as well as just the local Greensboro residents utilize. The Oasis Garden has dependence on some big systems such as Duke Energy. The Oasis Garden is attached to Guilford County Public Schools, and so on. There is big dependence there, but there's also the subtle underlying implied connections to religious centers and recreation centers and the local schools and just further resources. So these are entities that we would definitely, when we're scheduling community events or scheduling workshops or hosting meetings, these are the entities that we want involved. These are the people that we would like to network and just build and sustain positive social relationships to allow the Oasis Garden to thrive, but for the community, just even larger, to stay on a positive note. So those are our invisible structures. Next, let's talk about the plants. So it is of the intentions to showcase the various functions of plants. Some edible, some not so edible, but primarily edible. All of these plants provide the functions of either a food, medicine, a catchwater system, an insectary, or of wood supply. Food and medicine is quite straightforward. We want to feed the community. And catchwater systems, such as the rain garden and the swollen berm, are excellent components that can talk about erosion control, and water storage. And wood supply, wood is a fuel. Wood is great for the winter. Wood can act as a windbreak and a food and even potentially a medicine. So this is just a quick visual of what we want our plants to, what function we want our plants to serve. Insectaries are also great with attracting pollinators and beneficial insects. So this is just a full circle map of what the plants can do at this site. So I've also made a plant list to describe how the designated plants, to list designated plants for each plantee design site. At a pollinator bed, one can expect to see a lot of native wildflowers, or like just conventional, like nice flowers. So some coneflowers, some zinnias and daisies can be expected there. The herb bed is expected to have a variety of herbs. The contour rows will showcase conventional produce, and also some perennials, some permanent perennials. The swollen berm and rain garden are used for stormwater management, and you're likely to see grapevines, blueberries, elderberries, or even more aquatic plants like the cattail and the water lotus and the water hyacinth. Really want to showcase a variety of plants here. Mushrooms are an excellent demonstration for decomposers. That completes the that can go into lessons about the plant ecosystem. We need consumers, producers, and decomposers. And decomposers are actually very nutritious. They can have medicinal benefits, such as reishi or chicken of the woods or morels. So that's a big learning factor there. And trees certainly complete the plant ecosystem. For just talking about a forest in general, there's no forest without a tree. A tree is major. It's a major part of the water cycle. It can provide cultural history. Such as the dogwood. The dogwood is the native tree. Is North Carolina's state tree. So just considering all of those features to make this a well-rounded educational and creative learning site. How does the plant list? And next, let's talk about our implementation. So the phase one of implementing the Oasis Garden is to develop the foundation. To develop the foundation, this would involve removing the Bermuda grass, removing the current raised beds, to create this contour pathway and establish contour roads. But also, we'll be creating an ADA compatible paved pathway, carbon piles, some picnic benches to rest. There's a convenient time to establish the swell and berm, and also to establish the water storage. We intend to have stormwater barrels at the site. And this is major because water is the most important feature at the site. You have to know where your water is to move forward. Catching water is fundamental, and this just lays out the format for what is next. So phase one is the foundation. And phase two is all about incorporating the deadly panthers to the site. This garden is nothing without people, and most specifically the high school students, because this is on their school property. So I aim to select some motivated, dedicated, and just leaders of the Panther community to get hands-on with the keyhole garden, the herb garden, and the rain garden, to learn various plant functions. And we definitely want to connect Dudley's cafeteria scraps to the compost system. Definitely need students involved in that. And there's also a trade school apprenticeship that we would like to offer. So some Dudley Panthers can get familiar with trade school options and understand how to implement or install rather solar panels and electricity and refrigeration and plumbing, because these are necessary appliances for the Oasis Garden. So phase two is all about welcoming the Panthers, and phase three would be securing, touching up the some planty parts, planting some trees, getting some mushrooms inoculated, and also establishing plants on the contour rows are major parts of phase three. But the other major part of phase three is securing and establishing documents such as the maintenance plan, disaster recovery plan, the feedback survey, documents like that. So things are together, solid, coherent, and orderly. So things are organized enough for the community to openly provide, to openly make this public, to make this garden site public. We need some documents to make sure order is established. So that's what phase three is about. And I also want to mention, while determining the phase maps, it was critical to consider the scale of permanence chart. Definitely utilize a scale of permanence chart to understand the priority of implementing these design components. For example, the contour pathway, the contour road has to be established before we can plant on the contour roads. So just like establishing the pathways, just establishing that foundation. That's why Phase one would have more design components that are more permanent, more concrete, much harder to change, like that swollen berm and the contour beds. And so, and phase three is just like the nice, more finishing touches, one could say, for the garden. So thank you for the skill of permanence. Lovely 3 phases we have. Let's continue. So next I will move forward to notes, diagrams, and interviews. So during this course has allowed me to take a deeper dive and look at zone 0 to make further reflections at my inner self. And I've made some affirmations to keep myself grounded and to maintain stability as times get rough, or even if they aren't, just to remind myself to balance work and play, to balance saying yes and no, and to always just maintain self-love and positivity. I've come across a couple of concerns or challenges rather with this site. Namely, I work remotely. Unfortunately, I don't live in Greensboro anymore. So it's intriguing to commit to the computer or technology with phone calls. I stay connected with phone calls or say like Zoom chat meetings. In-person meetings are sacred and super valuable, and just interesting committing to myself, committing to the team, to manifest something greater. That has been an adjustment, and also really understanding how the designer limits the yield. I've definitely learning patience to connect with people with different perspectives. And I'm constantly growing to build my social skills and just maintain positive relationships. I have to heal myself in order to heal the land and heal the people. So it's just interesting, but definitely rewarding experience to constantly grow. I'm forever growing, forever evolving, hopefully into a better Ivori Schley. So those are some personal assessments. Next, let's talk about the site. So the Oasis Garden, I guess another challenge was a little tricky because the Oasis Garden does not, the previous record, the history of the Oasis Garden is very vague and murky. There aren't secure garden records solidified for this site. So it's interesting the things we learn just moving forward. The design site has a really huge drainage ditch leaving the greenhouse, and this is where the intended swollen berm could be. The site was previously a classroom, and that is indicated with these pink and blue tiles. This is remnants of a bathroom that helped out the school building or the learning space. A greenhouse frame is solid, but the panels definitely need repair. There are nails protruding from the sidewalk that we've tried to highlight in blue. That may be a safety hazard in the near future. So that is also something to address. And perhaps most noticeably, there are remnants of contraception located inside the greenhouse. So it's just interesting the things when they come across, when they find, and just we definitely want to redirect the current purpose of the greenhouse to more productive, more productive uses that benefits and nourishes the community at large. So those were side assessment notes. Oh, and this is the lovely Denise McCullough. Excuse me, Denise. This is the lovely Denise McCullough, and I had the pleasure to interview her. So fire woman with much pizzazz, much character. It screams through the picture. So I had the privilege to interview Denise McCullough. She is a lovely, fire soul, goal getter, ambitious, bubbly woman. Denise McCullough is a master gardener of the Guilford County Extension Office, and she definitely knows her stuff. She has used the garden, has used planting spaces as a personal sanctuary, and she is committed to addressing food apartheid in Guilford County, and just changing the future for something better. Denise has volunteered to be the garden manager of the Oasis Garden, and that is certainly a big task to commit to. But Denise has worked hard to gather up sponsors and schedule meetings and just the full nine to get the community on board and more involved with the project. There is definitely, well, not to say definitely, unfortunately, there was some pushback. There was unexpected pushback with the project because some of the Lee administration, there's reluctancy or hesitancy to restoring this garden, to restoring the site and making it a full-blown, huge new deal, new opportunity. This is a huge new opportunity for the community, but not everyone sees it as equally valuable, or not everyone has seen the magnitude, the strong difference it can make in the community. For better or for worse, this global pandemic of COVID-19 has definitely caused people to shift perspectives and shed new light on disparities, on issues in the world, in our society. I believe COVID has helped some individuals realize that people are really hungry. People are really, really hungry out there, from the students to the teachers. And now is an excellent time to get creative and innovative and restorative by sharing various gardening techniques, keeping things spicy, keeping things interesting, from traditional field, growing from the literal ground, from container gardens to even hydroponic garden systems. It would be nice to just provide this versatility to the Dudley High School students and just the Greensboro community more at large. From this interview with Denise, I was informed just how important resources are. Resources are very, very major, very critical, very useful in order to get things done. And it's necessary that resources are shared for everyone. There are plenty of resources in Guilford County, spread out around Greensboro and High Point, but some of these the food desert part of Greensboro, East Greensboro, is filled with Black and brown communities, and some resources, I guess, aren't very comfortable, aren't accustomed to Black and brown communities, and it's difficult to serve a community that you fear. So it's necessary for us to think progressively and think inclusively to involve everyone and make sure that everyone has access to nutritional food, or just a better health. People deserve nutritious food. This picture, this Denise's pose at the bathroom, at the old bathroom, and she has made an exemplary keyhole garden, a beautiful, thriving keyhole garden, um, to further spread the word of the cultural significance. It's necessary to highlight cultural significances, um, and just show highlight the potential of where life can go with plants. Denise also made it a note to she often makes it a note to never get too hungry, too angry, too lonely, or too tired, because an imbalance of any of those features can make a normal person exhibit abnormal behavior. So our health is our wealth. Our nutrition really matters for the stability of our planet, but just the stability of self, to stay grounded and to see a healthier future. Um, Plants matter. Let's choose to thrive. So thank you, Denise, for the interview. I am also very grateful for the multitude, the plethora of sponsors and stakeholders attached to the Oasis Garden. The Greensboro community is large and resourceful. We're grateful for the local colleges, the local extension office, Home Depot, Lowe's. All of these entities play a part to see that the Oasis Garden thrives and shines. And I'm grateful for the personal stakeholders who have committed their time to really see a green change in our community. On January 20th, 2020, this was a very productive day. The design team met, and this picture shows just a lovely day filled with professionals, professional landscapers, professional community members, professional writers, professional designers. And it was a lovely encompassing time of creativity, and unity, and just a common goal to manifest something greater for the community. So I'm grateful for the sponsors and stakeholders. I'm grateful for a solid team backing the Oasis Garden. So to ensure that the Oasis Garden thrives, we definitely need to incorporate a maintenance plan. The maintenance plan would involve restoring the keyhole garden at least every 4 years. We have to maintain an active volunteer sign-in sheet, prune dead parts so the live parts can continue to thrive. Tools need to be cleaned regularly to practice integrated pest management. Just healthy sanitation skills necessary to reduce chances of like diseases or just pest management to get these pests in control. And also just further health, sanitation, and safety with practicing safe distances while at the garden. So this is the beginning of our maintenance plan, and there are much other documents. There's a maintenance plan, there's a disaster recovery, the feedback survey, and the garden rules. All of these are to be secured, like further completely established, and like in hard copy form by phase 3 to ensure that the Oasis Garden is organized and structured enough, ready to be open to the public. So that is the maintenance plan. And I will conclude with the evaluation. The Permaculture Women's Guild has taught me a whole lot about how I view myself, how I view nature. I have a different lens, definitely a more respectful, compassionate lens on how I view the land. and what is really a weed, and just the importance of seeds and so on. I have been committed to Dudley High School since February 2018. This flyer right here is an original painting of mine. My commitment is hard. My passion is hard. I am a plantee person who just wants to see a better community, a greener community. I want to see these Blackened communities thrive with nutritious food in their bellies. I appreciate nature because it is so interdisciplinary with how hands on it is. You will learn cultural skills and practical skills, and you get to just be outside, and it's just a perfect combination. I appreciate permaculture. I am confident that I know how to design a holistic system to sustain basic human needs. I am grateful for what this course has taught me, and I definitely intend to utilize it throughout my career as long as I am living. I am optimistic. I'm optimistic about the future, despite the global pandemic that is continuing, because people always need food. Uh, Food is always a requirement. Food is major, and now is the time to treat the earth right. So I am committed to care for the earth, care for the people, and invest in the future for fair share. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to the Oasis Garden Project.